everyone, CeeCee here. Welcome to another I Organize video. Today I wanted to share with you something that I've been meaning to share for a while, and it's finally ready. I did a video on this on a previous YouTube channel that I had with a friend of mine called Card a la Carte, but I have since updated that project, and it is something that follows me everywhere or every time I go arts and craft supplies shopping, and that is my arts and craft supplies inventory binder. It's a small book like this. It's very compact. It's small enough to fit in my purse, but I usually put it in my working bag because, let's face it, most of my outings are going to the store to buy more supplies or going to the store to go to work. So this never really leaves my side, and every time I take it out, there's people around me, they always comment. So I decided to show you what is in this little Bible. Okay, so I have my binder here, and the skeleton for this binder is the Sarah binders, and it is sold by hot off the press, and I'm sure that it's still available because I saw them recently. The pages inside as well as the tabs are from that same line of product. So here's a close-up of the cover, and what I did is I took a piece of sticky back canvas by Claudine Helmuth, and I altered it with different types of, or different colors of paints and gesso. And I also use her doodle set. So the circles here and the underlines here are from her set. And I just basically went wild. I just created something that was more me. This is my second book, actually. My first book was outdated. I just wanted something that clearly represented what I'm into these days, and I just got into art journaling and canvases recently, so I just wanted to have a cover that was more my style. For the lettering here, I used a set of letter stickers that I glued onto the raw canvas, the natural canvas, because I wanted to have the canvas showing through at some point on my whole cover. And so I stuck the letters down, and then I worked on the whole book, and then at the end I just peeled off the stickers, and that's what I was left with, and I just outlined each of the letters with a black mark. And as for the lettering and those dots here, they were done with the Sharpie poster paints markers. And what I did afterwards is I took Mod Podge, and by mistake I ended up taking or grabbing the glossy Mod Podge, and I wanted something matte, but oh well. I mean, it gives it that shiny look that I wasn't going for, but it's fine. I'm okay with it. So this is the cover. Now let me show you what is inside. Inside here, what I did is I covered the insides as well with some Stampin' Up paper because I like the colors, and that was the whole inspiration for the color scheme on the cover. And then I just stuck down one of my business cards because if God forbid should I lose this book, I want it returned. This is more valuable than my wallet. I kid you not. Okay, so let me show you my tabs first, and then I'll walk you through each section. So here are my sections. I have a section on Copic, coloring tools, dyes, embossing, flower soft, glimmer and shimmer, glitter and beads, inks, paints, punches, Ranger, stencils and templates, Viva for Viva Decor, and a wish list tab. So these are my tabs. Now let me walk you through each section here. And along the way, I will reference some websites, and what I'll do is I'll list them down below. For instance, in the Copic section, obviously I have the Copic chart that is supplied by Copic, which you can find on their website, and that's one of the links that I'll list below. So I have my Copic chart with all the Copics that I own referenced. Then I have my At You Spica, and I just doodled and I referenced the name of the color as well as the number. And then further on in this section, I have a whole bunch of reference tools for coloring faces, for coloring hair. And on each of these pages, I have written the source of where I found the information. And I find this helps me because if I ever have to redo my book for some reason, let's say I tear a page and I need to reprint it, well then I always have the reference of where it came from. And most of these charts and pages I've had to reduce down to size to fit this binder. So I have quite a bit of references, as you can see here. I also have Stampin' Up! Equivalency charts as well as paper tray ink. So this is my section on Copic Marker. Now the coloring tool section. So obviously I have my Prismacolor Premier chart, and this chart here was included in the box that I bought. Metallic pencils, and I swatched them on black cardstock, obviously, because that's where it shows the most. Watercolor pencils from different companies, so I've listed the companies, and I just swatched on watercolor paper to give me the true color that it would come out as. And then I have my new favorite Faber-Castell stamping big brush pens, so I have those here. So that was the section on coloring tools. Then I have a section on dies. In here I list all of the dies that I own by companies, but just the names. Obviously I can't have an example of what they look like because that would be too thick, but at least I have the name. Cottage Cuts, I have Memory Box, I have Spellbinders, Stampin' Up, Tim Holtz Alterations, and whatnot. I also have Sizzix. Next category is embossing. And in here I have two things. I have all the names of my embossing folders, as well as the companies next to them, and I have a swatch of my embossing powders. Some embossing powders I swatched on black cardstock as well as white cardstock just to see the difference, and you have no idea how many times I have referred to that section. So this is dry embossing, this is heat embossing, and as you can see I have quite a bit of embossing powders. Then I have a section on Flower Soft, and what I did is I just took a big thick glue dot and I added some Flower Soft right over the glue dot just to swatch the Flower Soft. Next section is Glimmer and Shimmer. These are a listing of the Perfect Pearls powders that I have, the Pearl X powders that I have, as well as my homemade glimmer mists with the Pearl X and Gum Arabic. And I also added the recipe here in case I want to do more. Then I have my metallic rub-ons, and I also got this from the Glimmer or the Tattered Angels website, a listing of all their glimmer mists, and I just checked out the ones that I have. I don't have a lot of those. And miscellaneous mists that I have. Next section is glitter and beads. And yes, I'm addicted to glitter. Everybody knows that. So my first section is the microfine glitters, either by Glitter Ritz or Glamour Glitters. So I took a large glue dot. I added the glitter over that, burnished them really well, and then stuck them down to my pages. So this is a listing of all the microfine glitter I have. And then I have a listing of, you know, other glitters, the Martha Stewart ones, the German glass glitter. Flocking was, I put flocking in there, sands that I have, chunky glitter, as well as micro beads. Then I have my ink section. Of course I have all the Stampin' Up pads, but these are referenced in the catalog, so I don't need to reference them in here, as well as all the Tim Holtz Distress inks, but they're in the Ranger category later on. I have here a listing of all the other stamp pads that I have, whether they're cat size or regular size. They're all listed here. So I have Color Box and Hero Arts, and then the regular Sukaneko. Next up is a section on paper. Now obviously I don't have every single sheet of paper that I own in there, but I do reference the 8x8, 6x6, and 12x12 paper pads that I buy, and they're basically just broken down by brand. Next is my paints section. So this is anything that comes in a tube or in a pot. I have my watercolor tube paints. They are swatched on watercolor paper. Then I have the Twinkling H2Os, which I absolutely love. Smooch and other brand of acrylic paints. These are the Claudine Helmet Studio paints, and my other acrylic paints, whether they're Delta or Americana. These here I swatched on regular cardstock, and I just punched them out and then glued them onto my pages. And this is just taking a different punch. I think it's the Word Window Punch by Stampin' Up. So I've got all the acrylic paints, quite a few pages of these, and my beautiful silks. Look at them! So I have all my silks paints right here. And at the end, I have a section on gel media. Then I have a section on punches. I have to update this section, but it's basically a reference of the punches names, and if they are small enough to include, I have punched out a shape of each of the punches. But this is to be updated. And then I have my section on Ranger, which I will turn on this side. And I got these charts from their website. So I've got a section or chart on distress markers, and I also had to reduce the size of all of these charts to accommodate my binder. So I've got all of the distress markers, the liquid pearls, distress stains, distress inks, which I have stamped, and I added the seasonal stamp sets right on the side of each of these charts like this. The stickles. I don't have many dabbers, but what I have is referenced here. Distress stickles, I only have 3. The ice stickles, I don't believe they still make them. I'm not sure, I may be wrong, but these I've bought quite a few years ago. The alcohol inks, which I have swatched, by the way, on glossy paper as opposed to regular paper. And I just punched them out, and the whole circle didn't fit in there, so I kind of did like a half moon shape. The Perfect Pearls mists, I have swatched those both on black and white cardstock, just because sometimes some of them, like the interference one, shows more on the dark cardstock than on a regular one. And then here I have the Diane Reevely's Dilutions ink sprays, which is another Ranger product, and the color washes. So that concludes my Ranger section. And then I have one on stencils and templates, which I also have discovered recently that I really enjoy working with. So I have listed them by manufacturers and then by sizes, so 6x6 and 12x12. And I have a section on Viva Decor. These are all the precious metals and miscellaneous like modeling creams and Inca Golds and pearl pens, glitter liners. And the final section is my wish list section, and these in there I just basically keep lined and just blank pages to write what I need when I go to the store. And at the end here I have an envelope, which is another product by from the Sarah binder collection. And I just keep that in there because the binder is not a D-ring binding system, and I hate when pages get stuck underneath here, so this is made of cardstock. It's a little sturdier so my pages don't get stuck on underneath right there. So this is it. Now you know what's in this binder. I never leave home without it. I hope this was very helpful for you. If you have any other organizational tips that you want to share with us, please leave them in the comments as well as a video response. I always enjoy watching other people's videos, and I will see you later. À la prochaine!